from the Team Party.
Very much, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. With troublesome economic indicators on the horizon, such as a negative outlook by credit rating agencies and upcoming labour negotiations, under the cloud of a $12 billion deficit, could the Premier tell us which is her priority, avoiding labour strikes at all costs or meeting her deficit reduction targets?
Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Well, the reality of governing is that there are complexities that mean that it's not either or, Mr. Speaker. You don't choose between making sure that that we have an excellent education system, that we have good working partnerships with the people who are in our schools, the teachers, the support staff, the administrators, with the school boards, Mr. Speaker. We don't choose between that and making sure that we meet our fiscal targets. We have to do both, Mr. Speaker, and our plan lays out our path to do exactly that, to do both of those things and to do them in a balanced way, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary.
I lack the Premier's confidence in her balancing skills. It's clear that with the Metrolink's 8.5% wage hike precedent, that further negotiations with teachers and doctors this fall will be hampered, like probably compromise, similar to a Frito-Lay commercial. If I give one to you, I have to give one to everyone else. It's clear that they can't meet their spending targets while increasing compensation. They like to talk about net zeros over there, but I asked the Premier, what does net zero compensation actually mean to her? Is it higher pay with fewer workers? Is it higher pay with fewer benefits? Is it higher pay with less services? Or will the Premier just admit it really is just a higher pay that Ontarians are going to have to pay for because it will mean a higher deficit with no real clear spending priorities or reductions priorities in place?
Thank you, Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, you know, there are some fundamental differences that underlie the question that the leader of the member of the opposition. Sorry about that. Who knows? That the member opposite is asking, Mr. Speaker. And one of those fundamental differences between us and them is this. We believe in the collective bargaining process. We believe that it should be respected, Mr. Speaker, and we believe that it is the best way for the agreements to be put in place, Mr. Speaker. So that collective bargaining process will be honoured by us. Having said that, we have been very clear that there is no new money for those settlements. There's no new money for benefits, for salaries or wages, Mr. Speaker. And so those collective bargaining processes will take place within the funding that is in place, as they did in the Metrolink situation, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Final supplementary.
What the Premier fails to mention is that there are always consequences to these higher pay increases. So if the government, through Metrolinks, can give an 8.5% wage hike to workers while talking about, quote, net zeros, it means either raising fees on riders or cutting from somewhere else in their budget, possibly from other services, or, finally, that the deficit will increase. Similarly, with teacher contract negotiations due this fall, a 2% increase for elementary teachers will either come with a cut elsewhere in education, bigger class sizes and/or fewer teachers, or again, the deficit will increase. Given the Liberal priority is waving the white flag on wage freezes, will the Premier admit she is not interested at all in meeting her deficit reduction targets, and Ontarians are going to pay higher taxes as a result of it?
Mr. Speaker, well, that's just not true. I am very interested in meeting our deficit targets, Mr. Speaker, and we will do that. And, you know, the priority of the party opposite is to enter into conflict with organized labour. That is a starting point for them. That's a fundamental belief that that is a good way to govern. We saw it when they were in office previous to 2003. We saw it during their campaign, that they believe that having disruptive, conflicted relationships with the people who deliver health care and education and the services that people need in this province, that they believe that that is the way to go. Well, we don't believe that, Mr. Speaker. We believe that transforming systems, the work that has been done in healthcare, Mr. Speaker, to provide for better and different delivery of service, that is the focus of our government, Mr. Speaker. Those kinds of transformations, as well as continuing to have good working relationships with the people who deliver those essential services in Ontario.
Thank you. New question, the Leader of the Third Party.